Hey everybody, Enosh here, and welcome once again to the Poindexter Lounge. Today we are talking about something that I think really deserves to be talked about, and it's kind of a sad moment for Star Wars if this is where we're going. But you know, as we've talked about so much about the issues with The Last Jedi and the fandom that hates it and the fandom that loves it, I fall into the group of the people who love it, but I understand those who don't. All right, and so today, as we talk about this, if this is your first time here at the Poindexter Lounge, thank you so much for joining us. I am so glad to have you here. This is the Poindexter Lounge, a place for nerds, and that's what we do. We talk about nerdy stuff. We talk about TV shows and movies and games and comics and all kinds of stuff, and especially Star Wars. And so today we're talking about Star Wars. And so I just want to welcome you. I want to thank you for joining us here today. If this is your first time or you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notifications bell so that you know when we're doing videos, all right? And please leave a comment down in the comment section. This is a discussion, especially with what we're talking about today. I want to know your thoughts on this new development. I want to know what you think, because that's what we're all about here. We'd like to have a conversation. So you can keep the conversation going at Twitter, at Enosh Music, okay? So thank you so much, guys. Let's get into the story. So Disney mentioned and released a little while back that going forward, and I think it was a way to basically tell the fans, look, we care and we're paying attention. We're only going to use seasoned veteran directors, right, and writers for our new Star Wars movie. So we're not going to take these chances on these young, hip, new and fresh directors who may have different ideas about what Star Wars means and is to people. You know, they've had a history now of ever since Disney bought Star Wars, that they have had to fire and then hire new people. Obviously, with the solo Star Wars film, even Rogue One had its issues with Gareth. Of how the end of the movie wasn't even him. They brought in somebody else to direct those scenes and things, and then Trevorrow got fired off of Episode 9, and then Rian Johnson, who they put all their eggs in one basket with and said, hey, we're all in with this guy, he made a great Star Wars movie. Half the fandom has reacted in a negative light. So they said, we're going to only use these veteran people who will make good Star Wars. Well, now it sounds like that's threatened, because if more people start taking on the attitude of Christopher McQuarrie, this could be an issue of actually attracting good directors and writers to write Star Wars, and all because of the fans, because the fans reacting or overreacting to things that they don't like. You know, I heard there's a guy named Mike Zero who has a channel, and I like his channel. I don't agree with everything he says, but that's neither here nor there. But he mentioned something in one of his videos about how, like, he hopes that J.J. Abrams brings the sequel trilogy to a fulfilling close. Well, fulfilling for who? See, everybody has a different opinion about what fulfilling is. So your opinion may be different than mine. I liked The Last Jedi. You didn't. When I hear somebody say that they don't like The Empire Strikes Back, it blows my mind. But that's their opinion, right? And that's their thoughts on the matter. When somebody tells me that Episode 1 was the greatest movie of all time, that's kind of crazy to me, and that is kind of crazy, but it is what it is, right? So today, I was reading this article, and so I'm going to read from darkhorizons.com. That is a website that I go to on a regular basis to get movie news, and so you should visit there too, and I'll put a link to this story there. This story is all over the place, but this is Dark Horizons report, okay? And so I'm just going to read to you what they say and just kind of comment on it. So there's been a lot of talk about the increasing levels of awareness of the toxicity in genre fandoms of late. So it's not just Star Wars, it's a lot of different things. Superhero movies, you know, and beyond. Basically these genre fandoms, specifically tied to both the Star Wars franchise and the superhero genre overall. One person who has had an increasingly strong online presence in recent years is writer-director Christopher McQuarrie. The noted The Usual Suspects and Edge of Tomorrow scribe caught attention with 2012's better-than-expected Jack Reacher, which he both penned and directed. He followed that up helming 2015's Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, which is arguably the best in the series according to quite a few critics. He returns with Mission Impossible Fallout later this month, and his name has been potentially linked with the Man of Steel sequel in recent years, and I think that that personally would be a great choice. But you guys all know what a big Superman fan I am. Anyways, and I want to see a Man of Steel sequel. Come on, that's a whole other video. However, the chances of his involvement in Superman or any other Caped Crusader adventure seems to have dwindled overnight following an exchange with some haters of Star Wars The Last Jedi. It began when Last Jedi director Rian Johnson suggested that anyone interested in writing and filmmaking follow Macquarie's feed, where he occasionally answers questions. Macquarie soon after posted a tribute to Twilight Zone creator Rod Serling and discussed Serling's ability to include progressive and socially conscious messages into genre stories. One fan chimed in with a SJW nonsense should be banned from all fiction argument, to which Johnson responded, if you're using Serling as an example of sci-fi unfettered by progressive social or political messages, I've got some uncomfortable news for you. Both Johnson and Macquarie then came under fire from a sea of haters hurling insults, throwing out random quotes, and starting fruitless arguments. Now look, I'm going to say this about the SJW thing, okay? I get it, right? Sometimes we're way too politically correct in our society nowadays, and we're so worried about hitting all the buttons and making everybody feel good and all these things that we miss out on what's really important in a good story. It seems like in TV shows and movies nowadays. We're so busy trying to fit all this political stuff in that we forget that it's entertainment. But I will say this. The flip side of that is I think sometimes people are reading way too much into it, like with The Last Jedi. I think people are their focus is so much on that they can't just see the story. That's a good story. Just because a female lead is a strong female lead who does things that have not been done by male characters before does not make this some SJW thing where they're shoving it down our throats. Just because L3 in the Solo movie was a robot, rights activist, doesn't mean that it's some crazy thing. It's like people are in society and need to be represented in our entertainment. That's just, I think, a normal thing. But I think people are reading way too much into it. I mean, when Luke displayed force powers and abilities before he was ever trained and was able to do things, nobody questioned that. When Anakin was above and beyond everybody and had no training whatsoever, nobody questioned that. But a girl comes in, a female, and does this, and they have problems. And I will say this too. Look, I am so happy that at this point in the Star Wars fandom that we have so many females involved and loving Star Wars just like we do. As guys, okay? And I say that not saying we as our community, because I know that this community is made up of both men and women, but that's the thing. I am so excited for that. Look, I'm married to a woman who loves Star Wars, collects Star Wars, has a whole wall, has a couple walls full of female characters from toys, from superheroes to Star Wars and everything in between, different movies and everything, because she loves that stuff, and she's got a few guys up there too, and that's great. Those are all awesome things. I've got a buddy whose daughter is 5 years old, and I just gave her a Rey action figure because she loves Star Wars and she enjoys it. And the only way that that's going to happen is if there are characters that women can relate to because they're women, and it has been lopsided. Now, the only thing that I will say about that is, on the flip side is I don't think that we should go one way or the other, right? Where I think sometimes in our world today, we've lost strong male characters who are good role models, and guys, little boys need good role models. They need good dads who are in their life, and I take that seriously as a dad now of 3 boys. I mean, they need that encouragement, and they need to know what it means to be a man and to grow up like that, and they need good heroes. And so I think both girls and boys need those things, all right? So that's my opinion on that. It continues. Macquarie then tweeted to Johnson, "My friend, after 5 minutes of this, I don't know why you're still on Twitter. I would have loved to make a Star Wars film someday. I'm cured." Someone then asked Macquarie if there is any superhero film he would be interested in making, to which he said, "Nah, after tonight, I think I'm good." Finally, someone followed that up with a comment saying it's a shame we'll be denied seeing a Chris McQuarrie superhero film, to which he responded, "Much appreciated, and it saddens me too. I consider myself first and foremost an entertainer. I work for the audience. Tonight I found people I could never work for." So folks, here's the issue. Not only have we made such a big deal about things that we're seeing big changes happen, which I think when it's all said and done, that a lot of those changes are not going to make everyone happy. Because, as I said about the Mike Zero video, it's not going to be fulfilling to everybody. People are going to find something wrong with pretty much anything, and that's just how life is, and that's how our world is nowadays. But here's the thing. If Disney is hoping to get good, seasoned, veteran writers and directors, this is going to be an issue. Why would somebody put themselves on the line like that for a fandom that is going to nitpick them to death and start arguments? I mean, the guy hasn't even directed a movie, and all he said was, "Hey, here's an observation about Rod Serling in the Twilight Zone," which is correct. I mean, there's a lot of social issues that were dealt with on the Twilight Zone, and it is going to get ripped apart online. Folks, we got to do better. We can't make such a big deal about every little thing. We have to take the good with the bad, like the song from the show The Facts of Life. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. And the facts of life are, we're going to ruin Star Wars. We're going to ruin pretty much not just Star Wars, but anything out there that we just enjoy, if we can't just enjoy things anymore and just follow things through. Now, I'll agree. Don't push things down my throat. I believe that the show Supergirl has done just that, and I have a problem with that. But it's obvious, real stuff that's going on Supergirl right now, and that's a whole other video. But we can't keep reading into stuff and acting like everything is the worst movie, TV show, or whatever out there, and that it's just awful and horrible, and the writing's bad, and everything's bad about it, the direction's bad, and everything. Because I'd like to see a lot of those people go write their own movie and see how it turns out. All right, so hey, that's my thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section. I'd like to hear them. If you agree with me, great. If you don't agree with me, that's fine too, all right? Because that's what we do. We have conversations, and I like to keep them to be civilized conversations here in the Poindexter Lounge, because we got bouncers, and if anybody gets too rowdy, we'll kick them out. No, I'm just teasing. Hey, we want to know what you think. Leave your comments down in the comment section, please, or go to Twitter at Enosh Music and let me know there what you think of this story. Like I said, I'm going to link it down in the description. We appreciate you so much for watching. So glad that you're here, that you've taken the time to have a morning coffee with me, or afternoon coffee, as it were, and talk about Star Wars for a little while. That's a good day, folks. Until next time, I'm Enosh, a.k.a. Enosh Fett. May the Force be with you. Bye-bye.